What's up, CrossFit Federal Way? So we are on to week 2 of our Healthy Habits Challenge. This is where things get a little more, not complicated, but a lot more challenging. We start to look at overall changes for a healthy lifestyle. So week 1, we focused on hydration and working out. And again, when we look at the breakdown of that, you can work out up to 6, you get up to 6 points for your workouts, only 1 point per day. Now, obviously, that's to encourage throughout the week that there's at least one rest day while we're in quarantine, so you give your body a chance to recover. And then hydration. When we look back at the hydration standards, 1/3 of your body weight in ounces is your minimum intake. 1/2 of your body weight in ounces is going to be your ideal intake on water. So, as we went through last week, we started off pretty simple by just looking at water intake and working out, things that we're already probably doing pretty well on prior to this, but just bringing a little more attention to it. Week number 2, so this week starting tomorrow, we are doing no processed sugars. So that means that limits a lot of your junk food, that limits a lot of your processed foods. You can still do fruit and things like that, things where you're putting natural sugars into your body and where they're coming in with fiber and other stuff like that. So it hits your bloodstream different, has a different kind of reaction to the insulin levels or insulin spikes, and is much better at controlling those hormones that your body produces when we look at intake and look at trying to keep that insulin level much more even throughout the day. So, and since we're in quarantine, Lord knows that like ice cream is my downfall. So snacking, things like that, it's really easy to do when you're bored. Bringing some more attention to this is going to be something that's, yes, going to be way harder. So I think so far in this first week, I've seen a lot of people very consistent on hydrating, very consistent on working out, which is great. We are going to continue those too. So this is not a, wow, we're done with hydration and we're moving on to no processed sugar. No, this is a stacking cumulative effect across this challenge. So now, not only are we working out and are we hydrating, but now we have this no processed sugar too. So how that's going to work is this week, the points that are on the table, you have 1 point per day for your hydration. So that's a total of 7 points from Monday to Sunday. And then no sugar, 1 point per day on that too. And yes, if you eat just one Oreo, be honest with yourself, that counts as sugar. You can make the decision to eat something knowing that it's going to take a point away from your total. It's not that you don't have that choice, but if you really want to work your best at having the highest point total and having the best possible chance of getting that $300 Rogue gift card when this is all over, then you're just going to learn to say no to the things that, while they seem delicious, they're not going to be the best decision for you when we're looking at overall lifestyle change. So we've got hydration, sugar, 7 points available this week in both of those. And then again, 6 points for your workout, encouraging at least one rest day. So a little bit more points on the table this week. And then next week, we're going to stack another thing on top of that. So yes, it becomes a lot to think about, but hopefully doing these incremental steps makes it a lot more approachable. Whereas we might already be kind of falling into a little bit of a habit or a rhythm with our hydration. Now let's look at something else and try to switch it up. So those little steps over a long period of time are what create more success when we try to look at how can I be healthy? How do I change my overall lifestyle? What are the little things that add to a cumulative effect in my life in the long run where, next thing you know, all of a sudden this stuff becomes things that are just normal in my day-to-day routine. That's kind of the intention behind this challenge and behind the time that we have in quarantine and being able to focus on some of these things without other distractions and busy lives. So, biggest thing on no processed sugar is it is everywhere. It would be in things that you don't think it's going to be. So a really good habit to get in, read your labels. When you're shopping at the grocery store, when you're looking at something in the fridge or the freezer or something else like that, read the label and make sure, because sugar has a lot of other names other than just sugar. A quick little Google search or anything else like that will bring up all the different forms of sugar. Even things like protein powders and protein shakes and things like that. You're going to find things like sugar alcohol and stuff like that that show up in some of the lower quality things that you can buy out there. And maybe it's something you've used for a long time and you're going to realize maybe it wasn't the best choice. And that's okay. So this is why we do these things. But yeah, read your labels. Pay attention. I mean, if you go grab a box of Wheat Thins, yeah, there's processed sugar in that stuff. Just because it's not sweet doesn't mean that stuff doesn't exist. So read your labels. Pay attention to that stuff. The biggest thing you can do when you're avoiding no processed sugar is it's going to encourage you to eat whole foods. Eat real food. Animal proteins, vegetables, some starches, things like that. It's going to encourage you to stick to the things that you have to cook yourself and do all that sort of stuff. Those quick, easy fixes, quick, easy meals, those are the things where you see a lot of this really show up when we're looking at the types of foods that we eat on a day-to-day basis. So, again, week 2, no processed sugar. That means you've got 3 points on the table every day, except for your 1 rest day on your workout, and that's for hydration, sugar, and working out. Keep at it, guys. It's going to be great. I know this week is going to be a lot more challenging, but as you stay consistent with these things, this stuff gets a whole lot easier. Usually the first 2 to 3 days of no sugar is the absolute worst. By the time you get into your second week, you kind of start to settle in and feel a little more normal. So that's what we're getting ourselves into. Keep up the good work. Keep hitting those workouts. Keep doing the things you need to do, and I can't wait to see everybody back when this is all over. Have a good one.